Dave Tosh, Executive Director, Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Today I'm with Sandee Beach, one of our longtime volunteers, volunteering in the thrift store.
Yep.
At least one day a week.
One day a week.
One day a week.
Mm-hmm.
But she's one of those that we really rely on, and I know that she never misses a Monday. At least that's the schedule you're on right now.
That's on the schedule, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that true? When's the last time you ever missed?
I was going to tell you the last time when I had my colonoscopy, I missed.
Well, we all are having those these days.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many years have you been volunteering with us?
I'm coming up on 5 years now.
Uh-huh. And so I've been here for 8. And yeah, so 5 years, that's a chunk of time.
It is, yeah.
And what do you get out of it? What do you enjoy about it?
You know, I needed a purpose in my life, and that's why I decided to come down here. I moved to the Wenatchee Valley 5 years ago and wanted to meet new people because I just knew a handful of people when I moved here. And I figured coming down here and volunteering would be wonderful, and I've met the best people ever down here. You've got some good people here.
Are you talking about other volunteers?
Yes.
Okay.
And staff.
And staff.
And
yeah.
staff, certainly.
Yeah, well, we have, I think, a really good staff, and obviously it takes a lot of really good volunteers to make it work. The staff can't get it all done. What is it that you do primarily when you're volunteering?
Basically, I check out clothing that comes in, and we check for stains and tears and buttons, and just to make sure that it's good quality clothes that we put out.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, recently we've been experiencing some issues with some of the donations that come in don't quite meet our standard.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get the word out on that it takes a lot of time for some of our staff to just go through the bags of clothing that come in to make sure that we kind of call out some of the stuff that does not meet our standards. That goes somewhere else. We don't really benefit from that clothing. We don't receive any revenue from that, but there are organizations that pick it up.
Right.
And so it kind of slows us down a little bit. And for right now, during COVID, while the senior center's been closed and people have a lot of time, clothes are pouring in. Do you see a big change in the amount of clothing?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're inundated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know that women's clothing actually is far and away the biggest source of income in the thrift store.
Yes.
And so is that also what you see?
Yes.
Mostly women's clothing?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, I see a lot of men shopping here too. So and we get a lot of jeans and that type of thing. So we keep those out almost all the time.
Uh-huh. And so you spend how many hours when you come in on Mondays?
Well, I started at 7, now I'm down to 4. But yeah.
Well, we'd like to get you back more to the 7, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying.
No, you're one of a group that are still volunteering during this period of COVID.
Yes.
Do you feel comfortable coming in with all of the restrictions and everything?
Yes, I do. I think the staff here and the management have done a wonderful job keeping us safe. I certainly do appreciate that. You know, occasionally we get somebody that comes in that doesn't want to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But that's so seldom.
Yeah.
So everybody is pretty much on board.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a few issues with customers, but I think for the most part we've got a pretty good handle on that. So you work with how many other volunteers that are there with you on Mondays?
You know, it varies, I think, but at least 2 or 3 that directly I work with, and then there's several other that work in different areas of the store.
So you've all kind of gotten to know each other pretty well.
We're all friends, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's really good because I think when people are happy and and enjoying what they're doing, things get done a whole lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do any pricing at all?
Yes, I've done some pricing. I don't price clothes, but I do price things like neckties and socks and the smaller stuff. But yeah.
Well, good. So obviously you're enjoying what you do there, and I think when you're enjoying something, it makes a big difference in terms of how you feel about spending your time and all of that. I understand you also are a golfer.
Well, that's debatable. It depends on who you ask.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're a member. Are you a member of the Leavenworth Golf Club?
Yes, I am, and the Ladies' League. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you get out. How often do you get out?
Well, with COVID, it's not that much anymore, but before COVID, it was every week, every Wednesday.
And so what else do you do with your spare time? Are you involved in other organizations at all?
It's basically those two things, and then I also have family here. So I do a lot for my family too.
Now you said you came to Wenatchee 5 years ago?
Yes.
Where from?
I came from Federal Way.
Oh, okay. So you're from the dark side.
Yeah.
You moved here because you had family here?
No. Well, yes, that's true. But it was just time to start a new chapter. I had lost my husband, and so I sold my home in Federal Way and moved out here for a new chapter in my life. I did volunteer at the food bank in Federal Way for 7 years before I came out here.
Were you involved in the senior center aspect at all?
No, the food bank there was basically food, and they also had a clothing bank, which was really interesting because our clients could get clothes once a month. So,
what about? Have you ever been a thrift store shopper? Is that something you ever did?
not until I came here. I mean, this is wonderful. When you're a volunteer, you get first dibs at everything. So there's some really nice stuff that come through here.
Yeah.
You've got some very special donors.
I know you mentioned, Sandee, some of the benefits that rewards that you're able to gain from volunteering in the thrift store. But we also know that, the folks like you that are working back there get to look things over. And so I think that's probably one of the benefits of volunteering in the thrift store, being able to look at items that are coming through and finding your size and things like that. Yep. I'd like to say if you
Same taste. There's one woman that donates probably twice a year. And I always look forward to her donations because we're the same size, and she just keeps her clothes so immaculate, and they come in just beautifully folded and clean. And so, I always look forward to her clothes.
Well, I think one of the reasons women's clothing is a top seller in the thrift store is because seniors are the typical donors of that type of item.
Yeah.
And we just get some really high quality items that way. And so it makes the store special.
It does. And I also, shop for glassware that might come in because I collect Carnival glass. So I always check the shelves regularly to see if there's Carnival glass came in. And so I have a lot of collections. And
so do you frequent other thrift stores in the area? And
no, I haven't. I have no need to. No need to.
Yeah. So I know that we continue to receive a lot of compliments about our store and how clean it is and organized, and I think the staff and the volunteers are doing a great job to achieve that. Well, Sandee, a lot of times, our volunteers, they come in, they help us, And sometimes they may not be aware of the bigger picture that of what the senior center is really involved in, and how we get our funding and how we're able to operate. But I think that the public should know that our thrift store is our primary source of income. And recently we've been achieving new records in sales. And
Wonderful.
last month, the month of March actually, hit another new record in terms of our gross sales. And so obviously it is extremely important to the senior center. Right now, this is our source of income, and it's going to keep us alive so that we can open up again one of these days and do it in a really robust way. I think that without the volunteers coming in right now, helping us the way you are, we would never be able to achieve that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I wanted to also mention your Christmas store. The Christmas store is the best ever. We got so many compliments on our Christmas store last year. Only because of the space issues, and people had a chance to move around in the store. So it was just wonderful. And I wanted to thank you too, because you're also a big part of that, letting us expand a little bit this year was very, very helpful.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that point, because we have been able to spread the store out a little bit and occupy additional space. That's helping us meet all the restrictions that have been imposed with the COVID. And I know that having the Christmas room in a larger space this last year was a big help, and again allowed us to achieve new records in sales because of the extra space.
Wonderful.
And so, but it took a lot of volunteers to help and keep that thing stocked all throughout the holiday period.
But that's a volunteer hours of love. I got to tell you that, because those volunteers that work in there just love that store, that little Christmas store.
Yep, and we hope to figure that out for next year, how we're going to go about doing that.
That would be good.
You know, we've been very fortunate to have a really good management staff and volunteers, and so it's achieved results beyond our wildest dreams.
Wonderful.